Hello, welcome back to LIVENODING. In this episode, I want to share with you this really trivial procedural head. It could be like a human head, or monkey head, or puppet, or whatever. But basically, this is very easy to create, and I'm just using Boolean, and the whole thing is something you can create manually. But I just use geometry nodes for the whole thing, including the mouse shape. You can already guess all the process, all the procedure, but I will just explain it to you anyway. So the idea is based on the pumpkin head, but could also be like a snowman. But I like to think of this like a puppet Pinocchio. So I started this with just a simple cube. So there's the default cube underneath, and currently the setup is probably not the most procedural setup, but still kind of interesting to try this anyway. First of all, of course, I subdivided the default cube, so we have this shape, but you can always add bevel or just to reshape the base head. And then after I subdivide, for simplicity, I just use default cube and then subdivide, and then I use that as the base for my head. As you might notice, I scale it slightly over here, but yeah, I can translate over here. I can move it in and out, ups and down. That will change the shape of the head. The first thing I did was to add the nose. For the nose, I'm using cone instead of cylinder, because with the cone I can control the radius, bottom radius and top radius. That gives a little bit of control, and you can modify this because yeah, just the basic shapes of cone. And you can actually rotate the nose, rotate up, rotate down, and scale, whatever. But I joined it together, and then the next thing I did was to use Boolean, of course, for the eyeballs. The eyeballs is only a single eyeball, just the eye socket. It doesn't have the real eyes yet, but I use this together with mirror. So there's the eyeballs and the ears. For the ears, I'm using this cylinder, actually. Cylinder that has a Boolean, using a Boolean cut on itself. Okay, cylinder and Boolean. So we have this kind of ear shape like a monkey. I think that's kind of cute. And then I'm using it with another Booleans. So the eye socket is using difference with the Boolean, with self intersections and hole tolerance turn on. I can have a little bit of control with the eyes, ups and down, and the scale of the eyes. So if you make it like this, it looks almost like koala, right? So I like this. I'll save it. So we get it. We get this head, and we mirror it. And here I'm using this mouth cutter, which is using this curve. And this is a separate curve, which is pretty interesting. You can actually control the curve and redraw the curve if you want to. And you can increase the number of cutter, and ideally this cutter should just be like a, maybe like a volumetric instead of just icosphere. But anyway, for simplicity, it's just a curve with instance icosphere, and this guy is hidden, and it becomes the cutter. Yeah, apparently we can cut it this way. Cool. If you ever want to merge this together, you can use remesh at the very end. You can do it this way and then just convert to mesh, and then you start sculpting. You can start from there. I didn't say this is the right method or the best way to do this, but still kind of interesting to try to do it anyway. And then, oh yeah, if you want, you can try adding eyebrow yourself using procedural way. Okay, with the mouth, like I said, currently this mouth is a curve. Like I said, this is a curve and it's currently hidden. I parent it into this cube so I can rotate the cube and then the curve will follow. This curve, it would be better if this curve is just like something that's projected on the surface. For now, if we try to redraw it, I tested with Blender 3.0. Unfortunately, the projection, the surface projection seems to be off. As you can see, I'm drawing curve and then the projection failed. If I want to do it, I will show you with Blender 2.93, and then we'll try to reopen that file. I think they are currently working on 2.93 and 3.0 at the same time, the Blender developer. So with this version of Blender, we don't have curved geometry nodes. Okay, so it's kind of red color, but we can at least go to edit mode and then draw. We can delete everything and then draw the curve on the surface. Okay, so let's save this anyway. So it's a bit crazy that we need to go back and forth. So I bring in the file here and it's complaining about this. It's a sample curve. Okay, see, the curve has been updated. It's been projected on the surface correctly. And we can go back here with the Pinocchio head. We can adjust the eyeballs, the eye socket. Now we have a crazy looking head. Okay, so I will try to modify this and make it like a better procedural head, but this is basically for cartoony puppet or robot, or monkey head or human head. I think this could be like a start for proper head. Oh, by the way, you might notice there's a lot of these realized instances. This is because I use the older Blender and then bring it into Blender 3.0, which is pretty interesting. They should be both compatible, but just some things might change. Yeah, play around with this setup and maybe you can make it better, especially when, you know, when we are scaling the head like this. Okay, obviously some of the parts needs to be adjusted, like the ears, so that's kind of fixing it. But yeah, it's not 100% procedural parametric because of the placement of the eyeballs, ears and mouth. They need to follow the base model. At the moment I don't have it, but you can perhaps try tweak it yourself and make a better head model, and then if possible maybe share it with everyone. Alright, so thanks again for tuning in and I'll see you next time. Thank you. Bye.